What's up, YouTube?
Hi.
We were just staring at each other wondering, is it going to start? We're not sure. So hopefully we're live. How's everybody doing out there? Karen's got her highball energy drink. Sparkling energy water for the sparkling person in your life. See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
Oh, that's pretty nice, wasn't it?
It's a shout out to Hank and Lauren every time I have one of those.
Oh, Hank and Lauren drink those? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I not know that? So, yeah. So guys, welcome to the show. Let us know if you can hear us okay. Check our audio. Check, 1 2 1 2. Hey.
I can hear you just fine.
Karen can hear me, but that's not exactly what we need to check. We need to make sure the people who are watching can hear us.
Ah, is that how it works?
Well, it tends to work better that way. So happy Friday, guys. It is Friday. It's Friday o'clock. It's not even a real time. And
it is now Friday o'clock.
How's everybody doing out there in YouTube land, in reselling land, in entrepreneurial land, in e-commerce land, all the lands, Wonderland. I just keep going with the lands.
Apparently I'm Miss Prof.
You're Miss Prof. Yes, there you go. So Henry says Miss Prof, and that's fair enough.
Why couldn't you be Mr. Karen?
That's fine too. I have no ego on this.
It doesn't lend itself to this though so much, does it?
No, it really doesn't. So welcome to the big show here. We're 2 minutes in.
And we're already falling apart. And
it's already off the rails. Just hard to even say where we're going next. But in any case, we do have some things to talk about today. Excuse me. I feel like I'm catching allergies are hitting me right now. Does anybody else have allergies? Man, it's like all of a sudden I'm just like.
How are you?
Every time I go outside. And then I just come back in. And it's like. So I just made a post office run and the allergies are hitting me hard. But welcome to the show, guys. And today we're going to talk about several topics. We have one big show topic as always. And just for those of you who are playing along at home, the quote unquote show topic usually comes about 20 minutes into the show. So if you want to scroll forward to that, feel free, go right ahead. And it'll be somewhere around that range. We try to start right around there. But we are going to talk about slow eBay sales. Raise your hands in the chat and raise your hands afterwards in the comments if you've had slow eBay sales in the month of April. I would say our sales have been slow.
Compared to what? Last April?
Compared to, yes.
Or last month or
yeah, just in last month, the last couple months. Just in general, you know, the sales from what I've been reading from everyone have been a little bit slower. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about a few other topics. So let's get into it.
And I know I was just joking, but we've talked before about, you know, some people have come on and for example, they get started in October, November, December. They get started in Q4, right?
Right.
And that's their first impression of reselling and eBay and online, and then all of a sudden January, February, March comes along and it goes zzz. I had to do a sound effect, but
I like your sound effects.
So when you're comparing, especially if you're new at it, you have to give yourself some time, I think.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a good point.
The market, your sales, it just fluctuates,
right,
for different reasons, and we're going to talk about that.
That's exactly right, and that's going to be right. It's going to tie right into the topic. But first off, let's talk about theft. So, as you guys may have known, we have started down the road to merch on Amazon, which is a print-on-demand service that Amazon offers. You upload the designs, and they will print-on-demand T-shirts that you can sell, and you get a commission. You get a chunk of the sale. You don't have to carry any items. You don't have to buy any items. You just have to create the designs. You upload them, and then they create a listing for you, and then when people buy it, you get a percentage. And what did we learn, Karen, about our designs that we've uploaded?
Well, we learned that the only shirt that we've put on YouTube has already been stolen, and several people, not just one, but a handful of people. And I think I always want to call it Spotify, but I think most of them are Shopify accounts. Mm-hmm. But identical shirt, identical title, identical description. Other folks are selling the Prof Math shirt. I'm really not sure what they're hoping to gain there, because we're just gangbusters over here with the Prof Math logo and such. And so might as well cash in on our mega fame for that shirt, right?
Right.
But anyway, so, and we've asked around, and we're probably going to update you as we go along with it, but we're not going to take it laying down, so to speak.
Right.
And we've researched, you know, what the law actually is. You can actually speak to that as far as the copyright goes. But I just like to say it's just kind of crummy. You know, come up with your own ideas,
right?
Especially one that's not even like, it would be like, I made a shirt that said, Karen is Ben's best mother. Well, shoot, I'm his only mother. And that's only a shirt that he would, you know, it's like such an uber specific thing.
Right.
You know, why would somebody want to take that idea? So as part of our journey, we're going to kind of update you guys on that as well. And hopefully I'll have some more updates on that. But
yeah,
if, you know, mom, if you're out there and you wanted to get a Prof Math shirt, the only way to get it is through the link in our Amazon merch account store that we put in the video. So,
and the link is available in the description of this video and every video going forward, guys. So I would ask you, if you do want a Prof Math shirt, please use that link and don't go to somebody else's website. It is 100% not authorized by us.
Even though it says it, like it kills me. Like, if you're going to copy somebody's work, and we know that it's not just us. So
right, it's not just
let's
us.
just take it a step further. We know that, and a lot of the creative people we've spoken to about this just think it's just stinks.
Yeah,
it's just crummy. But it, you know, it's not just us. And a lot of the accounts out there, people, and we thought that maybe there were robots or, you know, whatever's automatics going in, and there are certain programs and things that kind of seek out designs information. It's not like this is anything new. But we do, but you were going to talk about the copyrighty thing.
Yeah, the copyright, we found out, guys. So when you create a design, in the United States at least, you automatically have a copyright to that design. You don't have to file anything or register anything. However, if you do decide to take some sort of legal action against someone, say like you were going to sue them for stealing your copyright, you would need to file that copyright with the U.S. Copyright Office. According to what we read, it's a nominal fee. It's like 35 bucks. Mm-hmm. But the reality is this. If someone's ripping off your merch by demand, your merch by Amazon, print on demand designs, what are you really going to get from them if you sue them? First of all, it's probably not going to be a tremendous amount of money they're going to make off of it. And second of all, you're going to have to pay for lawyers and a lawsuit. I don't know that it's really worth it in most cases. I mean, if you were putting out something that you're selling thousands and thousands of units, that's different. But if you're just selling, you know, 10, if we sell 10 or 20 Prof Math t-shirts, you know, I mean, and we're going to go pay a lawyer a couple $1,000 or more to even get started to sue someone. It just isn't really worth it to really go after every site. Now, we can send them a letter, an email. We can say, hey, cease and desist. This is not your design. And we researched our design, which is nothing fancy, but we researched before we started, and we realized there is nothing out there. There was nothing out there. When you Googled Prof Math, nothing like what we designed came up. Now, all of a sudden, it comes up in several places.
There were 10. And it's, you know, the thieveries. But it's not only that, like, it's one thing to do a screen grab and just sort of copy it and go with it, but it's the exact title. And it even says official Prof Math shirt.
Right.
And it's not only the Prof Maths, but it's the grab all the thingies too.
Right.
So it is on.
So if you want one of our shirts, guys, please use our link in our video. Do not go to another person's link. That's all we would ask. So, all right, let's move on from that. We just did a shoe video.
We did.
And we uploaded it. Well, let's back up. We didn't just do it. How long did we spend technically from start to finish on that video?
7.5 months ago.
It was not 7.5 months ago.
It was probably a couple weeks ago. Because I was out of town for a week.
Yeah, it was a few weeks back. So we started the video, and then we did a bunch of it, and we did some more on it. Then we went away from it, and then we came back and finished it yesterday. And really, it's not to it's not to say that we're some sort of shoe experts, guys, but we think the video is pretty good in like how our process for cleaning the shoes, for listing the shoes, photographing the shoes, pricing the shoes, all those things were in that video. So if you haven't seen that, check it out, because I think it actually ended up pretty good. It's about 32 minutes long, I think, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and you know, our disclaimer was we're not shoe professionals. We just play them on YouTube. And we did have a lot more footage on the video that we had to cut, because, you know, we have this balance between people who like long videos. They'd rather have shorter, informative, chock full videos. So there's a lot missing, even though we provided pictures on, I think we processed in that one thing, maybe 10 pair of shoes, I think.
Right. Yeah. So a good video. I think we did a pretty decent job. Check it out. See if you can maybe learn something from it. Maybe you'll just learn that Prof and Karin don't know what they're talking about. That's fine too. And entirely possible.
And Karin likes to mix things, chemicals and things together and see what happens.
Yes. And for those of you too, by the way, just on a programming note, who were looking forward to a show last night, we had originally scheduled to have our guest on. Unfortunately, he could not make it. So we'll see what happens with that in the future. But our apologies for that if you were looking forward to that show last night. Let's see. All right. So the future of this channel feedback. I want to talk about that for a second too, guys. You guys, I did that video, what, 2 weeks ago? And you guys provided tremendous feedback. I mean, it was way more feedback than I thought we would get on it. And I got feedback from not only in the comment section, but also a ton of different emails and messages on Facebook. I mean, it was just, it was like an outpouring of response from you guys. And I guess what the big takeaway I got from it is that the people who watch this show and watch this channel, first of all, are very supportive of me and Karin, which I am very, very thankful for. Thank you for that very much. That it does not go unnoticed. It is very, very welcomed and appreciated, more than you guys will ever know, more than I can really tell you. So we do appreciate that, especially you.
What?
I'm just seeing she's paying attention.
I'm always paying attention, and I wasn't even here when you did that video. And, you know, a lot of people thought you were putting it out there to maybe you weren't going to do this anymore, but that's not the case.
No, that wasn't it at all. That was a funny thing, or not so funny, but but you guys had a lot of great ideas, and I definitely will incorporate many of those going forward over the coming months and so on. And we're doing a couple things already, right? And we can, if you guys have a comment on this about your the 10 at 10, did you want to talk about that?
Oh yeah, so we had said all along that we were going to sort of chronicle my journey, because as a lot of you guys know, I'm a support staffer here at Prof Sales. Well, I mean, how many listings have I created, comparatively speaking?
True.
Not very many. So I have my own thing, my own deal on the eBay. So we talked about, you know, showing someone new to that platform how to do it and how to set it up.
Right.
And so I'm going to do these 10 little 10-minute dealios where I sort of highlight 10 different parts of, you know, starting your own eBay business. And they're just going to be little shorties, and I have it all laid out, and we'll see what happens. So you can laugh along with me and see how I bumble my way onto the eBay stage, right?
And we are gonna, guys, and hopefully you guys will appreciate this. We're gonna put out some other shorter videos like that. They're gonna be very specific around one topic, probably like a 10 to 12-minute video. That kind of hits a sweet spot with YouTube. YouTube likes those kind of videos and pushes that kind of content. And it's also not super long for us to make. And it's also not super long for you guys to watch. And it'll be very super specific and focused. I think we'll do them. Oh, there's something's on. I think we'll do them. I will do them for a live audience as well. You guys will get to come in and probably ask, maybe I'll have time for a question or two, but nothing crazy. So please, you know, be sure you check those out. And those will be starting up, I guess, pretty soon. We should probably start those like next week.
Yeah, well, on Monday.
Monday.
10 a.m. Monday morning, 10 minutes.
She's setting her timer. Hold her accountable, guys. If she doesn't do it.
And 10 minutes is so long. How will I ever fill up 10 minutes?
It's not that long. Well, it's kind of long.
No, I bet I could just go talk.
I was trying to see what we sold. Oh, I just sold oh, that brings me to another topic. I don't know if we really have time to go to that. We may have to go to the show topic first. Let's do that because I won't have time.
We'll put it on 1.5 and go blah, blah, blah.
1.5. Yeah, fast forward us. All right, so the topic of the show. So we're a couple minutes early here, but it's not too early, I guess, 2:16. That sounded like I got a sale. Somebody's saying they got faked out.
Oh, sorry.
No, it was nothing crazy. It wasn't like some crazy sale, but it was good.
It may or may not have been a pair of jeans. I'm just saying.
No, actually it wasn't. It was actually something I listed earlier today.
Really?
It was just a battery charger.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, nothing crazy. But still, a sale is a sale, right? Sales are good.
It was like a sale for everyone. You know, a lot of people come on and they say that we're good luck.
We're good luck. Yeah, that's true, guys. If you're not selling, watch our show and you'll get sales. We promise.
Yes.
No, we don't promise. That's ridiculous and makes no sense.
Sounds like a plan.
Right. It sounds like a plan, right? All right. So here we go. Show topic. We should have like a banner or some sort of graphic to display. Can we do that?
Give me a piece of paper and a marker. I got your display right here. I'm kidding. Just go.
Okay. All right. So I was literally looking for, I was like, oh, I thought you were serious. And then you weren't. All right. So we already talked about your sales may be slow right now, and ours are too. We are no different boat than you guys are in. So I started thinking about some things you could do to improve your sales. And some of them are, I would say, of these, there's lots of things you could do, guys, but these 3 things I think always kind of work. And they're going to work to various degrees, and some are going to be easier to do than others. But we'll see. But so there's a couple things, one thing you can do right off the bat. And this applies to you guys if you have a store. Now, I know some of you out there don't have a store, all right? And there's various advantages to having a store, and you may or may not want to get one. It's not the right decision for everyone, so I'm not going to say, hey, run out and buy a store and pay the subscription every month. It depends on a couple other factors, which are really not the topic for this show. But the number one thing you can do, guys, is run a sale. Now, it probably seems counterintuitive to mark down a bunch of things because you're like, well, Prof, I'm not making any money. Why would I want to run a sale and make even less money on the things that I'm not selling anyway?
Well, if you're not selling them, you're really not making any money at all.
Right. I mean, the reality of a business is, guys, and I know this from my years of running retail, your margin is important. Don't get me wrong. Like, how much you make on something is important. No question about it. So when you run a sale, you're going to make less margin. You're going to make a smaller percentage. Like if you're selling stuff for $100 and you run it 10% off, you're going to make $90. So you're going to lose some margin there. No question about it. But one of the, I don't know, it's probably the most important thing to running a business, guys, is you need cash flow. You need money coming in on a consistent basis because you've got expenses, you've got salaries to pay, you've got new goods to purchase, you've got taxes. I mean, you've got all these things, these regular expenses and things that come at you. And if you don't have cash flow, you can't pay for those things. You can't go do those things. I mean, imagine for those of you out there who have an employee. Let's say you have someone who's working for you 10 or 20 hours a week. If you can't pay them because your sales are so slow and you cut their hours back to 0, guess what's going to happen, guys? They're probably going to quit because they need that money for whatever they were using for, even if it's part-time. They might give you some amnesty, but they're not going to wait forever. Now you got to start all over again with another employee, right? And that's a big pain in the butt because, you got to train them. You got to wonder if they're have an aptitude for it or not. Are they honest? All these things. So you have to have cash flow, and you can't have cash flow if you're not selling anything. So that's why running a sale is a good tip, because when you run a sale, the psychology of it is, guys, that it's really odd. Like, let's say you want to sell a $100 item. We'll just use that example. And you decide to run a 10% off sale and sell it for 90. The psychology tells us you will get better results doing that than if you just priced it at 90. Which doesn't really, on the face of it, make sense. But people want to believe that they're getting a good deal. And when they see a percentage off, when they see a buy one, get one, when they see markdown 10% or 20%, whatever, they think they're getting a better deal. Now, some of you out there are going to say, but Prof, I'm already cutting it close on my margin. I can't afford to lose any money. There's a really easy explanation on how to solve that problem. Do you know?
There is?
There is.
Do tell, Prof.
Do tell. Mark your price higher to start with. All right, so let's say you want to sell a shirt for $20 and you really want to sell it for $20. If you list it for $25 and do a 20% off sale, you're still going to sell it for $20, and you've given the psychology that someone's getting a better deal. You don't have to lose any more margin than you thought you did. It's really that simple. And I see so many people in the reseller groups, the Facebook groups, and they come in, they say, but if I mark things down, I'm losing money. It's like, not if you price it higher to start with. It's really that simple. And lots of retailers do that, guys. I remember when I worked in retail management and we would get to the Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving sales. Yeah, there was the loss leader sometimes that you put the item out there that you just maybe even broke even on or even took a slight loss. But at that time, like all your markdowns and so on, you would end them because the idea was, hey, it's a big sale, come on in. But the reality is you didn't really mark your prices down because at that point you thought, we're having a sale, we're already drawing people in with these loss leaders, these great deals, there's the markdown, and they'll buy some of the regular price crap while they're here. And it works because people get in a buying mentality and they decide they want to buy. It's just psychology, I think. And, you know, yeah, buyers are sophisticated and know that, but it doesn't matter. When they think they're getting a good deal, they're going to buy. When they don't think they're getting a good deal, they're less likely to buy. And running a sale will help buyers realize that what you're selling is a good deal. So running a sale, it's like a no-brainer. Couple quick questions came in. Thoughts on a 10% sale or mark up prices and do 50% sale on eBay? Absolutely, Eddie. Why not? Why not? You know, try, you know, and you can experiment with those. And there's nothing saying you have to run the sale on every single item. Maybe you've got a bunch of, you know, pants or jeans or shoes, whatever that you've had for a while. Mark those down, move them out, get some cash flow coming in, even if you don't make a lot on them. I don't like selling things for a loss. I'm not a big fan of that approach, but you definitely can mark things down to a point where you don't make a whole lot on them, right? So, and still get cash flow coming in. You need cash flow to keep a business afloat, guys. Even if it's not a lot of profitable cash flow, you need cash flow. So I would absolutely recommend you try to do a sale if you're having slow sales. So, all right, so let's move on to point number.
Peace. No.
We do need a graphic. We need like a big number 2 to come up or something.
Well,
big number 1.
Chris gave us an
or
idea
3
on what to use for that.
Well, we'll look into that. The number 2 reason your eBay sales may be slow is seasonality.
We talk about that all the time, yeah?
Yeah.
Because most of our customers are primarily coming from the US, and we have, you know, seasons for the most part. You know, I get that it's still sunny in Florida most of the year. It doesn't get too cold. And our jean sales slow down. They don't cease, but they do slow down.
Sure.
While at the same time, you know, people are going on vacation in the winter, and so they still might buy a pair of shorts to take on the cruise or with them or whatever. So those are just sort of one-offs. It's not the trend. We're not saying it doesn't happen, but the change of the season surely has a big effect on, well, clothing in particular. And, you know, I'm sure people are going to say, well, I sell this widget and it's a year-round draw, right? So
right. But it's not just with clothing though, because
Mm-hmm.
as people start winding down the school year,
I was just gonna, yeah.
they're thinking about vacation.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking about vacations because summer's coming, the kids will be out of school, and that's usually when most people go. And when you think about vacation, you also think about one other thing. It's expensive.
Yeah.
So, you know, you've got to, people are starting to get their tax returns back. They file their taxes. They'll start getting those over the next few weeks for people who file late, which is always a big chunk of the population who does. And those people will spend. And they're also thinking about, you know, clothing is changing. It's slowly starting to get warmer in most of the parts of the country. So they're going to think about different types of clothing. It's hard to think about that winter coat in July when it's 90 degrees outside.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. So basically the mindset in summer changes, guys. And that doesn't mean you still can't sell items. You will. But you may even have to be more aggressive with that first tip to price things even a little bit lower, because people really want to get a deal then. The great thing is, as we've talked about last show, is with this seasonality, people are now donating and dumping all of their winter clothing. This is the time of year when they do. So thrift stores sometimes get filled up with those. You may be even able to make deals with the thrift store. And that's something we've got to get better at, like approaching a thrift store and saying, hey, how much would you take for all, 500 pair of those jeans? Instead of the regular price, could we do a deal for, 40% off or something? Because now they have a big glut of them and they can't move them. And if they can't move them, they're going to have to pack them up and ship them somewhere else. I mean, it's expensive for them. So there's definitely some deals that could be had. You can buy in bulk. Now, you may not sell those items right now, but man, when fall comes, October, for me, is usually the best month in terms of sales for clothing. I don't know if it's that way for every clothing reseller, but I know in October, there's a lot of people, like, vacation's done, kids are squarely back in school, the holidays are quickly approaching, and people are thinking about, and the weather's starting to get cooler, so they're thinking about pants and shirts with long sleeves and coats and jackets and things like that, because that's just the time of year it is. So seasonality plays a role in a lot of different categories of products out there, not just clothing.
Well, and it also is spending patterns. There's a seasonality to, like you said earlier, when and why people want to spend money. So the seasonality of the pocketbook is it's affected by spring break, summer break, tax season, the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. All of that has a role in how people spend money. And
what's interesting, guys, is I just was thinking about this. It used to be if you run a retail store, you might do 40% of your store sales for the year in November, December, right? That's kind of the time. And you could even compress that probably into like mid-November to the third week of December. It's probably really in those 5 weeks. It's not even the whole, 8 or 9 weeks of the 2 months. But I think as people shop more and more online, that spending pattern is going to evolve. Because we see like Cyber Monday, the day after Thanksgiving weekend, is huge. And that's grown exponentially every year. Traditionally, the biggest shopping day in a retail store is the Saturday before Christmas, believe it or not. That's actually a bigger day than Black Friday for a lot of retailers. The Saturday before Christmas, it's huge. Will that continue? Especially when you look across the country and see all these major store chains going out of business. Shopping malls are closing because consumer spending patterns are changing. So you would do well to educate yourself, and I try to spend time doing this. Check out Business Week, check out Forbes magazine, check out some of these online sources of information about how the economy and spending is changing, because it affects you as an online seller. And a lot of it's just I'm just going to throw a bunch of crap up there and it's just going to magically sell. Somebody was talking about that in the group the other day. Like, I've got X number of listings and I don't have the number of sales I thought. Well, but there are a lot of issues with their listings and their photos and their descriptions and things like that. And plus, these other factors you can't control, like seasonality, spending patterns, those are not in your control, but you can anticipate them and take advantage of them or minimize their disruption.
Sure.
And we could be better at that too, guys. I'm not saying we've got it all figured out, because we don't. But one of the reasons we moved into shoes over the last several months has been we understand that gives us a hedge against declining jean sales, for instance, in the summer, because shoe sales don't tend to have that huge drop off. There's some drop, but it's not like jeans and shirts and blazers and sport coats and things like that. So it's kind of become a hedge for us. You've got to, it's almost like it's going back to that revenue stream idea. All right, there's a jean revenue stream, there's a shirt revenue stream, and there's a shoe revenue stream. And all those things together, they give you some security against when one fails. You still got others that are not failing. So I think it's important to stay abreast of like all the trends that are happening in society and the way people's spending patterns are changing. And online commerce, the big players, they have disrupted the retail market. The eBays and Amazons of the world are disrupting it. It's changing. It's changed. It's not going to be the way it was before. And that's going to give you different types of opportunities, because retail stores are going to close, brick and mortar in some cases, and merchandise is going to get dumped. It's going to get dumped on the market. So you're going to have buying opportunities and, to reflip online. So, but you've got to be able to take advantage of those and anticipate them and realize, how these market forces are affecting you. So
look at, and not to get off on this subject, because I'm sure it will, and look at how Amazon and Walmart are butting heads right now. And Walmart's new, if you order it online and pick it up at the store, you save an additional percentage.
Right.
So they've found a way to even streamline, circumvent, however you want to put it. But that's having a drastic effect on.
Oh yeah. These are big players. They're they move the market when they make these kind of moves. They change things for everyone. So you gotta keep, in the know about those things. I think it's important. All right. So that was number 2. Number 3, and you guys can probably already anticipate what this one is. And there's going to be a visual aid for this one. Haha.
There is.
Yeah. For that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
She's like, I didn't even know that.
Well, and I think, spoiler alert, some people actually already said that. Yes.
Listing, not listing regularly, to be very, very specific.
List.
There's no hard, fast evidence that's conclusive that says if you list regularly that your sales will increase. I don't know of any study that's been done or any specific research, and eBay or Amazon for that matter are not going to tell you that particular metric, how it affects it. But man, it does. I would bet the farm on it, because when you're not listing regularly, you are absolutely going to see a slowdown in your sales. And when you do list regularly, you're going to see an uptick. I don't know anybody who's ever said that any different than that. So I wanted to share something with you guys. So we're going to do a little show and tell. You know me, here comes some prof math, right?
And spreadsheet.
You got to have a spreadsheet when you do prof math. It's kind of a requirement. So let's see if I can get this to come up. All right, so this particular spreadsheet is what we created this, guys, to show you kind of what this year's been like. And it probably looks like a lot of gobbledygook at the top, but I'm just going to share what it means. So what I did is I just kind of looked at since January, how many items I've listed each day, which is in this column right here, how many have sold, which is right here, and then something that I called blanks. I've had 30 days this year out of 110 that have been blanks. Now, some of that was on purpose. Sundays are days off.
Yes.
So that was a chunk of them. Saturdays have often been days off from listing for various other reasons. But when 27% of your year to date, you haven't listed, I don't know how much you can complain. I don't know how much you can complain, guys. So I have to, I wanted to do this, and it's just gonna run and keep scrolling as I go. So I'm just gonna keep doing it every day. But I've got to reduce this number of blanks. Now, I don't know what the magic number is, but if you're not listing a quarter of the days in your week, I would say there's no doubt about it, you are hurting your sales. You're hurting your sales, no question, because I'm gonna stop sharing. The reason you're hurting your sales, guys, is because you're not priming that eBay algorithm to say, oh, I've listed today, hey, push me up in the search rankings. What's funny is when I list on eBay and then I get a few sales like within the next 24 to 48 hours, they're often not those items. They're other items. Now, sometimes are those items, like the one I sold a few minutes ago was something I actually listed earlier this morning. But a lot of times they're other items that I think, I don't know, but I think that eBay's algorithm probably says when someone is regularly listing, whatever that means, take all their items and push them up in the search rankings a little bit so they're more visible. If I was running eBay and I wanted a business model that always, and because think about it, guys, if you were running eBay, you depend on new listings always coming into the site because buyers very, very quickly would get tired of coming back and seeing the same 50 items or 100 items that never changed. Mm-hmm. They want to see new items. I mean, that's just merchandising and marketing 101. So if that's true, then why would you not reward sellers who are listing on a regular basis? You would reward them by pushing them up in the search. That would be the reward. So if you push them up to that first page, more people are going to see that. Maybe you'll even feature them sometimes on your first page of the site. Whatever the ways you could do it, there's tons of different ways. And that rewards them for listing. So what does that make the seller want to do? List again, list more again. So going back to this point, guys, if you're not listing every day or virtually every day, you are hurting your sales. I don't think there's any argument I've ever heard that could dispute that's a true point, because I think it's absolutely got to be a true point. I can't prove it to you empirically. I don't have a data set, but man, common sense and anecdotal evidence across the reselling universe says that that's the case. So number one, even if you don't run a sale or you don't think about your seasonality and figuring out how to manipulate your listings, list regularly. Even if you have to create, you're going to be out of town tomorrow and you normally list 3 things a day. Create 6 today, list 3 today, and start 3 tomorrow. Mm-hmm. There you go. You're still just priming that eBay algorithm to keep pushing you up. And I see it. So I know that I have an opportunity now for the rest of this year to make sure that there are not as many days, to make sure I don't have 27% of my days with no listings going up. Like, that's unacceptable. That is unacceptable. And who knows how much money that's cost me. Mm-hmm. I would say in my volume level and so on, that probably has cost me a couple $1,000s in sales, maybe more. No joke, guys, no joke. So I have to fix that, and I'm going to fix that. But I think it's important for you guys to fix it as well. If you're not already doing it, figure out a way to set those listings in drafts and list the next day. I may even start doing that for Sunday too, just so we have the listings going up every single day, no matter what. And there's third-party apps out there. I mean, we use InkFrog for some things that will do that. You can do it in eBay. You can create drafts, and then you can just go in on the day of and say, select these 5 items, list. You're done. You've listed that day. Whatever you need to do. If you've got a listing goal, break it out to where it's split over the 30 days of an average month, instead of what we've been doing and saying, oh, well, we're going to try to list these 100 items over the next 5 days. Spread it over 7. So now that works out to about, 14 a day, roughly. So there's different ways you can do it. But those are the 3 things we thought about, guys, that you can affect slow eBay sales. So hopefully that all made sense. Whew. I'm like out of breath now. That was like a lot to say. Let's see. Let's see what some of the comments were. And we got a couple other things to talk about, but nothing too crazy. How are you two doing on your listing goals this month? Someone asked. We are doing okay. I wouldn't say they've been great. We are currently at 170 on the month. And we've grown our listings from last month, about 7% so far. But we're basically halfway done with our listings for the month. We're almost 51% done. So a little behind, I would argue. Not crazy behind, but if we start kind of spreading this out a little better, I think we can still get there. I think you're right. As long as I list every day, I get sales every day. If I don't list, I may not have sales for 2 to 3 days. Someone said, yeah, I agree. I mean, who knows what that does to you in the search rankings, that algorithm, but it's got to push you down, guys. If eBay's got even half a brain, and I'm sure they do, they're just not going to keep pushing your items if you're not listing. Why would they? I mean, I wouldn't. I would push up somebody else's listing. Tiffany says, I don't know if it's about listing all that much. It helps, but you have to have the right buyer. You have to have someone who's looking for what you have in your store. Well, what I'm going to say to that, here would be my response to that, Tiffany. You have no control over the right buyer. You don't. Like that's a result that you don't have any way to affect. You don't have any way to make sure that the right buyer comes on the site. Listing regularly, and if in fact you are getting pushed up in the search rankings as we seem to think is happening, you have a better chance for that right buyer seeing your item if they do happen to be there. So we never can control who's coming on a site. That's true. But what we can control is the potential for our listing to be seen by them when they do. That is in our control, potentially, if this, whole idea of listing every day helps.
Mm-hmm. And we've kind of tested it to some degree, as far as, if somebody wants a pair of Lucky brand jeans,
mm-hmm.
They're going to put in Lucky, whatever the size or fit or whatever. And we've seen where our jeans, it's kind of funny, where they pop up or they don't. So
yeah, definitely. So I think there's different ways to look at it, but be sure, guys, too, if you're enjoying the show, please to let us know. Leave me a question or comment. What else should they do, Karin, if they're enjoying the content?
They should smash the like button.
that was a quick one. They should smash the like button.
Please.
Yeah, so please hit the like button if you're enjoying the content. We do appreciate it. Lets us know you're doing a good job. Someone says you're getting pushed for other factors, top rated, fast and free. Yeah, and that's true too. But arguably, I would say that if you're not listing regularly, that probably, I would guess that I don't know, but I would guess that has the biggest single effect on your visibility. Again, because eBay is not going to care about you being top rated as much as they're going to care about having an influx of new items continually coming in the site. Like that's a factor eBay doesn't have any control over. They can decide the requirements for top rated. They can decide, what sort of discounts they give you for being a certain type of seller, but they don't have any control over how many people come to the site and list new items. So all they can do is try to encourage people to do it with the best they can.
So our crystal ball can only guesstimate so much here about what works
right
or what doesn't work. So I'll say this because Lauren posted something in a Facebook chat the other day about how she has a method, and every day she tries to list at least so many items or so much money's worth of potential, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that works for her. So I would just challenge people to pay attention. It's not, you can't say that your track record or math doesn't work or apply here. Keep track of what you're doing and how you're doing it. Don't be afraid to tweak it or try something new. And if you're seeing a personal trend where, okay, I listed 5 things today and I sold something today. I didn't list anything this week and didn't sell anything. I mean, see what works for you and do that. I mean, remember, you're just competing with yourself.
Right.
All of these, suggestions that you get from us or other people, other resellers, are really meant to help. They're meant to motivate, not to demotivate. But you have to kind of find your own rhythm here.
Yeah.
So as you're listing or selling or not selling, figure out, get a feel for what's working for you and replicate it.
Sure.
Do the same thing over and over again and chart your course and see if that makes a difference.
Right. And to Karen's point, if you think about it, you're going to list X number of items this week or this month anyway. Maybe you have a good feel for that. And if you don't have a good feel for that, that's a whole nother conversation, but setting a goal and going after, I'm going to do, 50 listings this month or 100 or whatever the number is. But let's say it's 50 listings this week. You could conceivably be off from work Monday and get all those done and put them all up Monday, right? You could do that. But you could also take those 50 and spread them out over 7 days, about 7 a day, basically. So there's different ways you could do it. But the point is, you're still going to list that many in that certain amount of time. My argument is that you're always, if the idea that you're going to get pushed up in search and so on is valid, by listing every day, why not set it up to just do 7 or 8 a day? That way, even if you did them all 50 on Monday, you still could space them out with drafts and so on. There's no reason, if you put them all on Monday, by Thursday, you don't have any, it's been now 3 days with no new listings coming up under your seller account. Friday, it's been 4 days, and Saturday, it's been 5 days, and so on. At some point, that algorithm might start wondering if you're going to ever list again. I mean, I don't know what the point is. And to Leisure Picker's point, that, when new listings come up, they push yours down. Yes and no, Leisure Picker, because here's why I'm going to say that's maybe not always correct. If your listing has the right combination of keywords and item specifics and so on, it's got to get rewarded by the search algorithm, just because, they're going to think that, hey, this is a better description of what somebody's looking for. Like I could just put in a listing, I'm selling Lucky Jeans. I could put that in the title, Lucky Jeans for sale. Nothing about size, nothing about the fit, nothing about are they men's or women's, none of that, right? I could do that, and it'll be a new listing. But is that going to get pushed up over a pair that says, Lucky Brand Jeans, Little Maggie's, size 8/29, women's with stretch? No, that other one is going to get pushed up higher because it's got more details in it. So when somebody searches for it, oh, I want to buy a pair of Lucky Jeans, size 8. Chances are my second listing there is going to get pushed up versus the one that didn't have enough info. So it's not just that, but to your point, Leisure, yes, some are going to push you down for sure. If other people are putting up good listings, of course it's going to push you down. But that kind of makes the point to keep listing, because now you're going to throw another item up there. Because remember, guys, this is kind of like fishing. If you throw one hook in the water for 5 minutes, you may not catch anything. But if you throw 10 in and leave them in there for a couple hours, and then you throw another one in and out, at that point, and then another one in, and another, you're giving yourself more and more chances to hook a fish. And that's all kind of you're doing, because you don't know when that fish is going to swim by. And you don't know, what that fish is looking for in terms of bait always. So you have to give yourself chances to make sales.
And it goes without saying, spell your stuff right. spell things correctly.
Yeah.
Call them the right thing. If it's a pair, it's not enough to say pair of jeans size 7. Do you remember we were looking at that the other day and we saw that it was a listing where it just said like pair of ballet it was like ballet flats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what kind? Because it kind of matters,
It absolutely matters.
And
Brand matters.
We see that so many times where you fail to put the size, the color, the brand, the fit. And I agree with you. I think it makes a big difference.
Like if I said I'm selling a cell phone. Okay, Now, if I say I'm selling an iPhone 6S, which do you think is going to get more searches and more people are going to see? Obviously this one, because people aren't likely to log on and say, I just want to buy a cell phone. They might, but a lot of people are going to log on and say, I want to get an Android or an iPhone or whatever the phone is. Doesn't matter. You have to give them enough to where they can find it. I mean, any algorithm is going to work that way. But, you know, guys, I just think that there's so much value to listing regularly. And, you know, we're going to kind of redouble our efforts here to do better at it, because we definitely have not captured that every day or every week like we could have this year. We're not quite a third of the way into the year yet. So even if you think, man, I've already wasted like 4 months. So what? You got today. You got this weekend. You got next week. You got a whole rest of the year left. Start now. Figure it out. You know, I'm only listing 20 items a week. Great. That's 3 a day, more or less. Space it out if you want. Try it. See what happens after 30 days. See if you're getting regular sales versus not as regular sales with your current method. And you got to give it a little time, guys. It's not going to happen overnight. You can't try it for like 1 day and say, oh, that worked or didn't work. It doesn't work that way. Like, you need more time than that to give it a try. But I just think that like this idea of listing regularly is something that a lot of us in the reselling community, we talk about it a lot, but I don't know how much we all do it. So us included.
And you know how we love to be the guinea pigs here and share with you both our successes and our failures or our falling shorts.
Yeah.
So, I said falling shorts.
If you guys have questions too, please type the word question or question marks in the chat feed. We'll try to answer them best. And you guys have been already doing that.
It's that time.
I know it is the Q&A time, but I'm going to cover a couple other quick things. Amazon ship backs.
For lack of a better thing to call it.
So I've kind of been purging some of my old inventory for Amazon. Some we're going to donate back and take the write-off for. Others we're going to sell as bundles. And some we're going to reflip to eBay. But I had an item. I don't have it out here now. I already put it in inventory. And I'm just going to say this one little point because I think it's important. So I bought this water sensor from Lowe's or Home Depot. I don't remember which one, but I spent like 115 bucks on it. It was not cheap. And at the time on Amazon, it was selling for like $240, $250. So even after fees, I was looking to probably, you know, net maybe 50 bucks on it, 60 bucks, maybe a 40, 50% margin, whatever. It didn't sell. And it sat there for, I think it even got hit with a long-term storage fee on it at one point. So it sat there for 6 months. Oh. Maybe 6 months. Yeah, probably. So I had them ship it back to me. Amazon will do that. And I'm going to try to sell it on eBay now. And you know what, guys? I'm looking at the prices. Now, remember, I paid $115 for it. And I think the highest I saw it for was about $125 plus a few bucks for shipping. I'm going to lose money on it. No doubt about it. I'm probably going to lose like $20, $30 on it. But it still goes back to that idea of cash flow. And it's an expensive item. I don't think I can return it at this point. I think I've missed my window. I should have the receipt for it. Technically, I might be able to return it. I need to look for that, but I don't think so. I think I'm out of the window. But when you get an item like that, guys, and it's a high-priced item, try to reflip it, even if you lose a little bit on it. You guys know I hate losing money on it. But if I don't sell it, I'm losing 115 bucks. So I'd rather lose 20 than lose 115. So I'm absolutely going to try to sell it and see what happens. But the moral of the story is when you got a bunch of inventory sitting there that's not moving, that's especially if it's high dollar inventory compared to what you normally sell, and 115 is obviously kind of a higher end item for us. Take action, try to sell it, try to find a way to move it, even if you have to take a little loss on it. That's better than never selling it. Unfortunately, the market just dropped on them. I probably because they went on sale at Lowe's or whatever it was, and people tanked the price. It is what it is. But just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, sell it. Get a bunch of shoes. Ruth says.
Get a bunch of shoes. Yeah, we now have. Somebody asked about shoe listings earlier. We have. Let's see. What are we currently at? Let's see, 18 and Oh, we started 10, 8. So we have like 26.
Is that counting those? No, because they're not
16. Up yet. Yeah. We have 26 shoe listings right now, guys. So we're moving up.
4 on deck. And we actually,
4 on deck, yeah.
We talked about that. Remember the 4, we've sold 4 or 5 now?
We've sold 4.
Okay. So we had our own little shoe competition. And do you remember what it was, right? So there were 2 that sold that you sourced and you cleaned them, ironically, because I was trying to say that my method was better. But then the other 2 I sourced and I cleaned. So it's a dead heat.
It's a dead even, this competition. Although it was funny though yesterday. So for you guys who think that people scam you, here's a quick little funny story. So yesterday I get this notification that a pair of shoes we had listed sold, and they were a decent price. They sold for like $35 plus shipping. And I'm like, yes.
Because you thought you were surging ahead in our shoe content.
And I didn't really think anything about it. And then all of a sudden I get this message, like probably a minute or 2 later. And I click on eBay and I look at the message and it says, hey, I'm so sorry. My child was playing with the phone and bought these by mistake. Now, some of you out there in reseller land are probably like, that's a scam or blah, 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 or what the heck is wrong with this person? Okay, so the person who did that and bought it was my niece.
Well, it was actually her.
And it was her
daughter,
3-year-old daughter. And she said, I was on your store looking, just kind of flipping through your store earlier, and her daughter got a hold of the phone and did buy them. So she said, I'm so sorry. And I said, all right, I'll send you a cancellation request and you just got to confirm it. So sometimes when somebody tells you that, it's legit. Because she wouldn't have bought shoes from me. Like, there would have been no reason for her to buy shoes from me. She was legitimately looking at my store. Her child got a hold of the phone and she bought it. So if a buyer tells you that, they're not always lying, guys. Sometimes it is the truth.
And I still think we should have sent her a bill and made her buy.
Oh yeah, I should have been like, nope, you got to buy them. I'm sorry. This is.
That was pretty funny.
Let's see some other questions here. Lori asked, when you're sourcing jeans in spring and summer, are you listing them all or waiting to list them in the fall? I would say list them, Lori, and we try to do that. Some will still sell now, and I'll just keep rolling them forward. eBay doesn't charge you a listing or doesn't charge you a storage fee like if you send them into Amazon FBA, for instance. So there's no reason, if you've got the room for them, just list them. List them. You don't know when they're going to sell. You really don't, unless you've got a whole bunch of other items that you're trying to sell right then, and you've got to divert your listing time to those. Rachel says, I have a listing on eBay that's been listed for 5 days, short of a month, with 1,300 views and 18 watchers. Never had a listing be so popular or not sell. Any ideas? That sounds like a problem we all want, Rachel. But I would say, I don't know what the item is, but I think it's going to sell. 5 days short of a month is not really that long. I don't know what your item is, but for like a clothing item, especially some long tail items, they can sit for months. So I would probably just give it longer. I don't think I would question it too much. The watchers, some of those watchers are probably people who may want to sell it themselves. They are waiting to see if the price changes. Who knows? And I see that you were thinking about increasing the price. And some people do that. Some people will increase the price and try to, generate this idea that, oh, well, price is going up. I better buy it now before it goes up anymore. It's worth a shot. I've read that strategy before. I think there's some logic to it. But, I don't think a month is really that long, especially on a lot of long tail clothing items. So let's see. I want to see. Yeah, I want to see if there was any other questions and so on. I thought I saw one. I totally missed it. Raise the price. Someone will buy it immediately. I know, right? That could be. Do you allow offers? Somebody asked to Rachel, and that brings up the offer question in general. I think best offer is a good way to go with a lot of clothing, guys. And again, you can price it higher, and you can set the auto accept and decline rates, so you don't even really have to go in and answer the offer. So say you're selling an item for $25 and you will be happy selling it for 20. You can set to auto accept at 20 and auto decline anything below 20. Then you don't have to go in and answer the offer. So it doesn't take any more time. And the buyer, it'll pop up and say, hey, they've made you this offer. Hey, they bought your item. It'll kind of come like one after another. And then you got to wait for the payment. But it's really simple. So lots of good comments in here, and people are giving input. So, all right. A couple other things, guys, and we're going to close this out. Be sure you check out the description for the Prof Mask shirt.
Oh.
The legitimate Prof Mask shirt, the real Prof Mask shirt. And also check out too, I put a link in there to an offer from Steve Raiken Profit. If you guys don't know him, he's a big reseller, kind of a legend in the community, I guess. And he started out selling clothing.
Don't let him hear you say
I know, he's going to get a big head. And but I've got a bundle in there that you guys can get from him. He's got a special discount on it. It's called Killer Clothing Brands. There's 101 brands, and there's 102 more brands. So it's 3 books, and then there's a book called Blazing Profits, and they're all bundled together. So check out that link from him. I've read all 3 of them, and they're excellent. They're still valid. That's the funny thing. Like, he wrote those, I think, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and they're still valid brands. It's still valid information. Like, it still applies in a lot of cases. And it gives you a great way to learn a whole bunch of brands at once, guys, and to be on the lookout for and start making mental notes of, or even written notes. So check those out. That's in the description of the video. Leisure Picker said never heard of them. Yeah, whatever. What else? You got anything else you want to add?
No, just, you know, we've got some neat little shows coming. 10
at 10 next week. Hold her accountable.
I'll do it. Well, that means I'm going to actually have to start listing my own things again. Because right now I'm 2 for 2. I've listed 2 things and I've sold 2 things.
She's 100% sell through. Teach me, Obi-Wan. Teach me. Jeez. So, all right, guys. Well, listen, I think that's going to do it for the show today. So thanks for a great show. We had about 75, 80 people watching. And leave me a question or comment if you have them in the comments down below. We got some other stuff coming your way real soon.
Have an awesome weekend. If you're hitting it tomorrow for yard sales
or
go kill it. Estate sales or the like, definitely keep pounding, keep grinding, go kill it. And then I guess we'll see you guys again on Monday, right?
Monday afternoon.
Well, Monday morning if we're
Monday morning,
Monday,
10 a.m. for her.
A little quickie on Monday, and then 2.
All right. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for the show. So take care. Hope you have an awesome weekend, and go out there and make your sales better. And you've got some good tips, and there's lots of other ones I didn't mention, but those are 3 that you can take and use right away. So
run with it.
All right. Prof Sales
and Karen saying good sales to you.